So someone asked me data loads and all that. I got like 1 million rows in one table that I can move. First off, it's a huge laptop. So bear with me. It is running an i7. It's only got 4 cores. I got 8 gigs of memory. I do have an SSD. That's kind of nice. It isn't just a straight up Dell XPS laptop. So I got Oracle SQL Server. I've got Attunity Replicate on there. And the big thing that I'm doing, hang on, I didn't talk this. I didn't know about that. So what I want to do, now this is the big thing I got going on. I'm running, I got VMware Player, and I'm running a full emulation of Teradata. Now remember, real Teradata runs on a very big, very expensive set of hardware and drives and all of that. But in every other respect, I can emulate its APIs, its mannerisms, and all of that. I'm not going to try to brag about my throughput and performance. I'm trying to convey a message. In fact, if you let me make it a little easier on myself and take it like an Oracle to SQL Server, I get much better performance because everything's running local. So I'm running multiple machines here. I'm running an enterprise class data appliance on a tiny little laptop. So that's what this is. That's Teradata. It's up. It's running. I created some databases on there. So this is the VM session. That's my target machine. I didn't think to start this. I'm going to start it real quick just to get a taste to it. Not my fit. I have the worst luck with my Oracle SQL developer. He just likes to crash on me sometimes. So I've got an Oracle database. I'm going to go boot on HR. That's my source database. That's what I'm working with. I got some tables in there. We're going to take a look at that. And this is my one that's got, there it is. All right, so we'll go on over here. Now, can someone answer me this? I just opened up SQL Developer. Hang on, Dean. I got a tool for this.
You're dissing Larry.
Larry's a very rich man. So I'm going to fix SQL Developer. I don't know why that's happening. Anyways, that's the one tool I don't have to have up. It just usually fits on doing it. I don't know why I like to do that. But that's my Oracle source database. I run Oracle. I got Oracle Enterprise. As long as I stay away with it for that particular type, I should get totally. Here. So, target, different machine. What I do is then I have a little Teradata administrator tool over here. This is actually running not in the VM session. It's running actually as an administrator. It's on mine. And this, I actually like to do it like a cooking show. My demo's all done. I got it all baked. I did that sitting right there because I got here early and I made it all up because I want to show it's done. And then we'll go back and we'll build it. So we'll get it up and get it running. Again, we'll get the essence of what I'm trying to do. I'm going to take, bulk load all my Oracle data and put it into Teradata, and then I'm going to run real-time change data capture against the thing. Now, let's just talk about some of the things we talked about. What I hope to kind of show you here is that there's better ways of doing this. And if you've never looked at CDC technology, you may think it all works this way. If you've never played with ETL tools, you may think it always all works this way. Most of it is kind of scripted and kind of command line basis of doing this. So what I've done is I went out and I created a task. A task is essentially either it's a job or a package or a program. And I identified I wanted to full load the data over there. So I went and ran it ahead of time. I had it in tables, so I completed it. We can see what I did, the time that it took me to do it. So in this whole environment, and that's not particularly good, 1 million rows in 31 seconds is not good. But on a Dell XPS running VMware, it's not so bad. So I moved all in there. So I've got the classic HR database. It doesn't come with a lot of data. I can put data into it, and then I do that.
Okay, for this, just using this, just logically, there aren't going to be too many new countries that are going to change. Departments probably in your company aren't going to change. So couldn't you have just said, well, what's probably going to change? Employees, jobs, and job history.
Yes. Yes. So really what's going to dictate it is it's an excellent question. She said a lot of those things are fairly static. Now the good news is it won't hurt to have a static one. So you can run them. Some of the times when we work with people, We talked about this concept of a task. So if we go look at design, we look at tasks, and that I want to do with it, and the databases that I get out there, I can have many different types of tasks. That's the next question. I can have all my busy tables in one task, and my static tables in another one, and run them at a different interval. The latency aspect of that, so I don't pull the log and do that. But what we're starting to find out in the field is throw them all in there. Just throw all the tables that are in there. The ones that aren't doing anything, they're not touching the logs. We're not really reading it. It doesn't hurt to have it and monitor it. And so when it does, when a country departments do have you come, it'll get picked up and do that, along with the very busy ones. But like you, on my mind, the first thought about this, I just want to get the relevant things that are changing. When we go after large package JDAs, PeopleSoft, SAP, these guys have like 60,000 tables. It's a nightmare to when you first look at it. We got work with a Kevin Solta organization, one of the largest power distributors in the world. They're a $50 billion organization. They identified 300 tables in the SAP. Just 300. That's it. All right. So, we're running this task right here. So that I did a little, so I've got Oracle to Teradata. I built it at source and a target. And then to get a defined job, all you have to do is identify the tables that you want. Now, back to that thing I talked about. So I'm actually real-time going out there. At least I should be. It's going to wake up. There we go. I'm waiting to hold laptop up. I just went out and pulled Oracle. These are all their Oracle databases out there. Here's the HR database. I can look at those. I can go in there and search it and find out what's everything. And just pull it back. I can literally pull from the list and do that. The two innovative buttons, as trivial as they sound, I like to call this one right down here the not button. You've got 60,000 tables. Let's talk about what you don't want. So you can literally put wildcarding methodologies. One of the things we learned in the field, we learned the hard way, is that when we went down and kind of with a clean whiteboard and sat down in Tropsys, we found out that we really need to give an innovative, simplistic GUI that can identify just exactly what you want to go after. And you can be literally, if you go after these packages, you just want to go find out who is the DBA. Who put 60,000 tables in one schema? It's about application works that way. It's a nightmare. So you almost really want to be able to quickly, with wildcards and expressions, identify what you want or what you don't want. This, I'm going to go scrolling up and down 60,000 tables and put them over here, and this is it. So I then change the way I identify what I want. By literally adding a wildcard in here, if I add a table in my source, while this is up and running, I want to see it in my target. Do it, grab it, run the full loader for me, and immediately throw it into CDC, and I want to be at home in bed sleeping while this happens. And if something goes wrong, send me my buddy an SMS message and tell him or something. And so that's kind of the concept of what we want to be able to do. So we have everything out there. We want to make it easy to design and build it. I can go over here. I've got the task up and running. So I'm actually going to go straight to CDC. So what I've done is I've got a database out there. We've got a salary established. So I'm going to go over here to the Teradata tool. I have a query that I set up. And I'm going to change the employee salary. So we're going to run the query. It's a simple concept. So everybody, let's just look at the end. Everyone's more or less getting paid, 24 or something like that. So we've established the query of the data. So we remember everybody's salary. We got it out there. So literally, remember I told you about the guy, actually, one gentleman cut out of here, said, people do go about the story? You'd be surprised. The guy came from us, one of our customers, big-time COBOL programmer, actually wrote a lot of the apps from ATMs to what runs in America industry. Now he's a C# guy, so he went and built this. This is an application that's sitting on top of the HR database, and it's just making changes. It's just a C# program using the APIs, changing things. Actually, it's API back. So let's just start giving everybody raises. We're generous guys. Now, what I want to quick do is go back over here. We got the same one. We go to monitor mode. I don't know where we are going to catch it. And we've already done the full load. Let's go and change the processing. And we've done a bunch of changes, and we put them out there, and there they are. Now, this is graphically doing that, and I'll do more of that, and we'll throw that up there. There are a few things up there. So I'm going to race back over here, and I'm going to go back to my query, and I'm going to go rerun the query, and we start talking about that real-time concept, and we start seeing that. The idea about demand more. Why can't I have it in damn near sub-second? There's no reason if you have the right infrastructure that you can't see something happening in your source and not see the data at once. And that's what we did on a simple little laptop. I went and popped a bunch of changes into my database, and as fast as I can race over to the BI tool and the analytics, I see it in my data warehouse. Demand more. Why not? Why can't we have that? So I beefed up the salary. Now there is a limit to what I can hammer at my little laptop. Jeff's a very good developer. This is a very lightweight, this is an evil application. If I was using a query tool like this, he's got a multi-threaded .NET application that he can just hammer your local database with. So he can do a lot of things like that. So I can go insert, 1,000 rows of job history. I can go in and get that done. We talked about that, and we're just going to start seeing it go through here and do that. Now, we'll see that up here. Now we got that going. Don't allow the GUI necessarily, many times, is we first get the data to the target, then we report it to the console. So the idea being is I can be seeing it kind of materialize here, but actually we'll run it query database and actually see what it is. Pretty fast. So before I do it again, let's get it on 29. So 9. Those of you who are curious, that's Jeff turned into a Simpson character. No, he doesn't. So, nights get long.
See some DDL changes.
Down here. So we popped off, we did the salary decrease. There's my meeting under. And now we're good. So everything managed to be, I'm running about 1 or 2 seconds of latency on that. And remember, what's really killing me is this. I'm flatlining the machine because I'm running the huge interrogator view. That's, if I shut him down and just go work to the SQL server, it's instantly, I cannot run around the tools and keep up with it on the laptop. Although I'm going to apply to you, didn't get that performance, not when I need it. So then what Kevin started talking about is we go over here, we look at our schemas, and what we got in here is that what he wants is the idea of DDL changes. So let's do that. Why would we do that? Let's first go and alter a column. And we put that out there, we put it in there. And that's what we mean by that. And it's going to be kind of miss that. And once you do that, console now. And you just see it right there. So what we did was we went in there and we added a column. I think, let me see how good the interrogator tool is. I'm not an expert at using each one of these things. And what did I do? Regions?
Yes. So there should be a new column in regions. New column, row 3.
Yeah.
So what happens if you were using an ETL process and you have what Richard described before, you have a process that's running at night doing full loads, and you have a table schema that is the source, and there's all this code around it. So somebody says, oh, we just upgraded SAP, and they change the names of this table, or they add columns, or there's new tables in there. There's this huge code that has to be changed just to get the data from the source to the data warehouse. And it's a huge pain in the neck, and it's its own, hey, we got to write the code, we've got to test it, we've got to promote it to UAT, we've got to promote it to production. And in the era of Agile, where they're making changes to production code on a more frequent basis, the ETL process is a huge bottleneck. And so what we're showing here is you can go and change table names, you can add columns, you can drop columns, you can add tables. This product will pick it up, and if it meets the criteria, it's going to automatically add it to the data warehouse. So it's a huge savings in process of adding, changing the transformations that are in a standard ETL process.
So what is the criteria? If it meets the criteria?
Yes, so the table selection section,
Right here. Go back to the
you know, and it's
design
so easy, you know, you don't even know what you're
It's
looking
subtle.
at.
It's this.
This.
If I had just made the tables, it doesn't go over.
It's
Unless
down,
it's a
yeah.
column. I mean, no tables would get in there, but you can turn off DBL. I mean, it's a switch. Obviously, you can turn it off if you don't want it to have it running. By default, it's running in there. In this case, this didn't get into the column. This got me, while Kevin was talking, I went out and ran the app and see new tables in there. I just went over here to the Jeff program and I put the spots in, add a new table. That's more significant than adding a column. It's like my schema changed and the whole process launched it up and threw it over there. And we know that, back to that demand monitor, we come in here and we see a whole new table got created into my database in real time running. And then we also did a change to an existing table, DBL.
So for a lot of companies that have a data warehouse, they're still batching it overnight. It's the stuff where you put all the old data, and you're still, if people want to know, where's that order now? What's the status of the inventory right now? Those queries are still being directed to the OLTP source, which is a strain on the source system. So the idea of having a real-time data warehouse is you can redirect all the real-time queries off the OLTP source, free up capacity for OLTP processing, transaction processing, and redirect those real-time queries to the data warehouse. Not only can you have the data warehouse with real-time data that's synced with the source, anytime the source changes, the data warehouse changes. So it makes the data warehouse more valuable, and it's not just a place to do historical queries. It's like replication. So if your data warehouse is SQL Server 2008 and your OLTP is SQL Server 2008, that's not a big deal. But if it's Oracle and Teradata, or if it's 2008 and 2012, or it's SAP and everything is in the table is for orders is some number, it makes no sense. So you want to change the table names, you want to change the columns. That's the idea of the heterogeneous nature. The other thing that you have replication means your data warehouse or these tables are exactly the same as here. Well, if you're doing overnight refreshes, you had the last state of that data. Well, what was it throughout the day? What happened to the inventory status throughout the day? Well, we found it went very low at 11 o'clock in the morning, and it was basically empty throughout the day. And you want to see the incremental changes. Replication, straight replication won't show you that. They'll say, this is that. Well, what was it 2 hours ago? I don't know. You overwrote it. So change data capture allows you to keep the table synchronized or show actually every before and after image. So you can do transaction analysis as well. So certainly if you have homogeneous data types that are the same schema and the same versions, you can use normally the native replication that's included with the database. But if you were using, they've got a bunch of different names for it. So you can make do 2008 to 2012, maybe the schemes are a little different. But if you're doing Oracle to SQL, or SQL to Oracle, or DB2 to SQL, those are more complicated. Your data types won't match. A lot of times you want to change the table names, and so that's why you need to have some transformations in the data as it's going to the warehouse.
Well, out of the box, you get transformations that are transparency. Literally.
I'm sorry? Right.
Yes.
Right. So Microsoft does have some new features in the SQL Server. I guess it's 2008 they came out with SQL replication. So if you have a SQL source, they have change tracking. And that's something that is going to create a shadow table of each table that you want to replicate, and it's going to write the changes. And you get to poll your database for the frequency of updates you want. So if you want it updated every second, you can go poll all the shadow tables, and that's going to kill your database. So what this is, we're reading the transaction log. We're not polling tables, we're polling the transaction log. So we're not locking records, we're not doing any of that stuff. We're reading the transaction log and immediately replicating the transactions or the changed records into a target, which could be the same or it could be a heterogeneous target.
So does it mean that you're working at the record level, not at the row level, column level? Those, the whole table.
So right, it's the record level. It's the record level because most databases, when they have the transaction log, they're recording the whole record. So that's what we use to send to the target. Now we have a mode. We have two modes. We have the table replication where the target table is in sync with the source table, and then we have an audit table or a transaction table that has the before and after image and plus some metadata. We know the log ID. We know the type of change was it. Was it an insert, update, or delete? And then we'll also tell you with the bitmap what column changed. So we've got customers that use these before and after images to do analytics on fraud detection or pattern detection, complex event processing. And you can't get that if you're just, hey, this changed here, put it over there. You don't have that full hand to it. If you're doing full loads, you're going to miss all that.
So the tables could go really big.
They could grow very big. So if you're recording all your tables before and after images every day, yes. And
How do you manifest?
you call EMC.
What do you call your
Well, that, and then Kevin's talking about change tables. There's many different flavors of it.
And plus, you can expire them if you're doing real-time event processing and you want to know something happened in the transaction. You don't have to keep it for 4 years.
How long does it delay? Find things that can go in terabytes.
It depends on the table. It depends on the use case.
Yeah, auditing and change tables, you can literally pre-expire them. You can just let it fall off the back of the day. Because usually you're going to have someone consume it and make something out of it. So I was focusing completely on putting it to the data warehouse. But I'll run through the tool, it'll spark some interest in you. I happen to silly listening to the conversation. You get transformation right out of the box. It's so subtle. The biggest one is just data types. I'm going from Indian, Linux, Unix, Windows. Just literally, I'm going from Oracle data type to SQL Server data type. That all becomes, all the things you had to worry about now becomes transparent. It's all becomes so much becomes transparent as I'm going from one source to another. You get to focus on what really matters to you. Not these kinds of mundane things, as big of a pain as they can be, they should be just turnkey. They should be behind the scenes. But the moment I start building something, a source and target, I'm already doing transformations. I got to deal with the difference in data types and how one goes with the other. So it's literally right out of the gates. You talked about, do I want all the columns? Do I want all the rows? That's up to you. You can literally say what I want to do. So it starts first by I want to define a set of data sources. I got a lot of data sources. Tonight we're using Oracle. I can use Oracle from many different flavors of getting after it, depending on my circumstances and latency and bandwidth and everything I want to do. So I just go in here and this is just defining a data source, just like you do with a BI tool or ETL tool. Just what's its name, where do I find it, username, password, how am I going to graph it? You just add sources and targets. And so if I was going to look to do that, you can start getting an idea that I give it a name. If it's a source, I want to be able to think about a lot of different types of sources. Those are the things to consider. I don't want one source and one target. If I'm going to really make this work, I got to take it from many different places, make that funnel, and go to possibly many different targets. And so when I flip to a target, the same idea. And what we want to start seeing, the kinds of targets that, is it Redshift? Is it the cloud? Is it this file channel? Is the methodology of what I said about wide area networks? So it's not only I got to have a diverse topography of what I'm going to put it to from appliances to my existing data sources, but I'm going to put it into the cloud. I'm going to put it over a wide area network. I'm going to put it into a data appliance. Those are the things that most people don't realize. You look at most ways of doing it, all three of those, you're writing code, you're clogging together maybe with the technologies just to do that simply.
Or one-to-many is another one. One-to-many is another one that data replication often can't do very well. So I want one data source and I want to have a number of targets updated. Maybe they're the same database, the same versions, but they're all different schemas for different data mart uses. And so that's something that the data replication generally falls short.
So I do standard source and target to show how simple it should be, at least to do the very basics and get going on it, is that I want to define a new task. I give it a name. Right out here, I just want to talk about it. You start getting into the different flavors of what you want to do. Again, I focused on data warehouse and business intelligence, putting it to an appliance. You might want to do bidirectional. It's this, but you're synchronizing two databases. At face value, it seems trivial. The two biggest things you got to start thinking about is CBC itself becomes a usage. You don't want to create a...
You don't want to replicate replication.
Oh yeah, you don't do this right. You update one record and the thing runs forever. And then obviously DR is very, and the idea of DR, the difference between this and this is get the entire schema, get all the objects there that they need to this. This traditionally you have not as much of that. You're doing a subset of what you want. Subset of schemas, tables, columns. What do I want? This is the subtlety of what Kevin talked about. I'm not going to do it tonight, but you throw it in there. It's just, I can do it. I'm not sure how terrible it feels like. These are, do the full load, generate me the CBC with two jobs. Oh, by the way, and create me these tables. So if I have a regions table, I have a regions table underscore change table, CT, that shows you the before and after image. This is the bottom. And we get two flavors of it. We can do table for table or one master log. So while we're in there, because you start getting the diversity of just data warehouse, data appliance, fraud protection. There's so many different things that can go on and want to do that. So I've got my name, I've defined my job, and literally, why not? Why can't it just be as simple as give me a source, give me a target, identify what I want, what's the schema, get me everything in wildcard, so when I add tables, this is what I did beforehand, I'm done. At this point, I can run this is a fully defined change data. This is going to go out, it's going to drop the database, it's going to add new tables, it's going to be full load. You got all the pieces that you want. It's not particularly spectacular as I do this because I am dealing with the idea of my virtual machine. I just give you SQL Server, this thing will be done up and running in instantaneous. When I've accomplished this, so I'm going to go over here. I'm not sure what exactly he's going to look like over here. But come over here, and it's going to be a little bit. All this goes away. Truncates and doesn't. So it's coming over here. It's identified. It's queued everything out. It's talking to the database. It's estimating what's going to go on there. It's going to multi-thread. You can start loading the databases and putting the tables in there. But we got the big thing here is my little when I get this going now, once it gets established, we can start, we got the full load going, and this is what I'm talking about. We got them queued up. Once I let it get rolling, then I'm going to go over here and we're going to go try to order from Jeff. And then we got in there. At this point, the job is in. Not only is full load in, and it's going along there. So, sort of, yes. We have a tremendous level of volume, so we talk about that. So we got this thing going, it's running over there, we got 8 completed. So we got it all done, we're just doing the full load now. We move more data now than we've done. We got the one that's loaded, it's the big guy. So we're done. So what I wanted to do is, what I should have done while I was doing it is to start, the CDC can start immediately. I could have gone over here and just started putting in changes as we go. And get the things going in there, increase new salaries, you see all of it. It's all running, it's all going over there. We can start counting on the database. One of my more senior SEs has warned me, this little app is so efficient I can overwhelm it. If I start just clicking the button and scanning on it and putting tens of thousands of changes in there, I can start seeing some of the, start seeing the latency as it goes through, as you're now seeing it. But we've got the latency is holding up pretty good. It's staying in there. This is that whole monitor, everything that's coming in. Changes what we're going there. This is everything is in memory, but if it has to go to disk, it shows me both on the source and type. We got everything going on in there. We got all that going in. So then let's talk about, we did everything straight out of the box. Do that. What I'm going to do is go ahead and stop now. And I make sure we go back to design mode. And we have one. First thing I want to start talking about, let's talk about filtering. What can the filtering do? Filtering can be defined at many different levels of what we want to do. First and foremost, some of the better things in you is the concept of a transformation. So we talked about this. The gentleman was very astute, Richard. life's not that easy. We're gonna take subsets, we're gonna change it, we're gonna modify the data. So let's bring in as much of the ability to programmatically accomplish tasks, but not programmatic. So literally, this is a global transformation, and I put it in my other one, we don't have it anymore. If we look at all my schemas, we look closely at that. We actually had an extra field that was put on every one of my Teradata tables. I wanted a transformation, so this goes up, we can rename the schema, rename the table, rename the column, add a column, drop a column. So you talk about, let's say you had a fairly common theme across all tables, you can go in and identify which schemas and tables to work in, and add and drop a column. So I can literally eliminate the whole, go get every date field, or go get every salary field, I don't want it, give me a pattern, and it'll just locally take it out and handle it with the field over CDC. The one I like, because I think it resonates, is I want to put a timestamp, I have the luxury of it, every record that I like to my Teradata target in the CDC timestamp. And it was just simply defining it and working the way you think. I just went out and graphically said, using classical SQL functions, because let's face it, we're going to be working with analysts, DBA-like type folks, and we'll just go out there and just give me some time state operations. And I just said, go time, give me now, give me local time. I evaluated it, I tested it, and that simple task of just give me the name, give me the data type, using a Boolean to specify the logic that I want, and identifying is something as simple as everything. Every one of my target tables has a column added to it, it's a timestamp. And then you're only limited by your imagination or the need of business you want to do. Whether I want to filter things, do things, what Ted was talking about in my application, is I can come out here, and I can get in here, and I can get into the tables. I can expand the tables so we can actually see them. This will be the time to identify a certain table, so we can go out here to the jobs, or we can go to the jobs or the employees, or the table settings. And really, once again, I get general information about it, and I can do analysis at the global level, and everything, the granular level. At this particular table, I want to do transformation. This can be as simple as we talked about, listen, Richard, I want a handful of columns. So we recognize that fact. You don't write code, you just come in here, salary is very sensitive. That column's not good. In the target, I just did it, it's gone. Again, it should be simplistic. I shouldn't have to write code for simple concepts. If I can articulate it concisely, then I should graphically be able to accomplish. And that's the idea of what Kevin says, filter that out. In the transformation, don't put the failure there. What he meant by filtering is that you can go in here and then we expand on that. I want to look at the source and then the header. This is what you're going to think is I want to get some logic on here. I want to look at only give me everyone who was hired after a certain date. And then I can do that. I can put that in there. I can grab that. I can come in here with the ranges. And then in the range, I can really add a type of range. And moving all the data and get it in there. So I've got ranges that I can put in there. I can exclude or exclude everything that's done in here based on that. So if I say include everything that's based on the range in a particular date, you get an open expression builder that you can just put in here because that same function. You can just pick everything and do it this way. That's my data. But now, because of the idea of CDC, I have all this stuff. In addition to the data you thought you would get, well, what about the kind of operator? I need an insert, an update, or delete. I don't want to process any deletes. My target is never going to reflect deletes. I'm going to write a transformation that says, when I get a delete, change a flag and say the record's no longer there. But that's another way of thinking of the audit concept. So I have the ability to build all of these kinds of expressions, operators, and functions. But this little thing here is very powerful in that I can use all this information about what went on, the committed timestamp, what's about there, and know what's going on. So this is what Kevin said about when to filter, transform, general information about a specific table and accomplish that. So I have information that we get global table settings, come in here, be able to do what I want to work on, design, and I build it all out and accomplish that. Moving on from that, when we talk about managers, we get into the tasks. We start looking at the tasks. You can go back and revisit it. On the full load, I want to start talking about Do I always drop it? Do I always restart when the table's full? You have all these ways of doing it. Again, there's endless ways that you start going and use of what you want. All these different types of things you can apply to it, change to it. I'm going to apply changes. You know, how am I going to do it? This is as subtle as this batch optimization. That's the turbo stream. The concept, this is you know, it's really not maintain 10 changes to the exact same record, roll it up, make it one. So it may have been 10 against my source database, but I'm going to do it as one, and I put it down here. This is the idea of this thing, allow it to do it. There are cases for certain instances of a certain task where you want it literally, I did the 10 changes, I don't care, do them all on the target database, because I always want to go step through everything perfectly. You have all that kind of granularity of control on applying changes. This is those change tables. How do I want to handle them? How do I want to work with them? Error handling, what do I want to do? We talked about error handling. We talked about kind of the scripts and all that. What I want to do, we're going to take a look at that. Logging. And this is where you can start dropping in the logs. You can see the kind of sequence of what came out of it. You start going into this granularity, and you can start seeing the log files, what's going on, what's being put out there. Right now, I have very little. I just have info, and you can beef it up and start seeing, go to the full debug mode and see a lot that's going out there. And the idea being that is when you're in the monitor mode, you get over here, log messages, you can view the logs. This is info. This is what you asked for. Can you show me what's really going on behind the scenes, how I'm talking, what I'm doing, what's going on here? And the level, these log files can turn out to be 10 times bigger than the way you can just get such granularity and really analyze what's going on in your system. You can start learning a lot of insights to what's going on in your organization and how it's all going. So that's kind of the logging that we can do. We can do the tasks. We can also go to the server. Again, kind of speeding through this. We start talking about logging. This is the whole file transfer method. This is working over the wide area network. The scheduler, obviously, when I want to do this, when I want to schedule things, I want to run it, start a job or task, any task, reload a target. I want to work with different levels of scheduling when everything happens, and then just kind of step through all of that kind of do it when I run my task. So, just want to do that. Oh. Did you do that? They would sit there and polish job. We kind of say to me is which job.
Richard could go on and get deeper and deeper. The clock is going on, and a bunch of you folks were nice enough to fill out a card for the drawing, and I'm thinking that they're not looking at your clicks. They're waiting for the drawing. So for the Richard Thomas, Director. And for the drawing, for the $100 gift card, you're going to close your eyes, mix it up, and pull it out. So close your eyes. Fix that, right? Don't feel for your own.
Feel for your own?
I read it out.
Thomas Abraham.
You got it.